gas.
We are 1 week away from Georgia football, 2 weeks away from the Falcons opener at home against the stupid Saints, 4 weeks away from the final series against the Mets. Then comes October baseball, Halloween, deer season, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and the Super Bowl. The final week of the August bore is here, and I couldn't be more excited. So, welcome to All Gas, All Georgia Sports. We are glad you are here. Going to have another, possibly shorter episode for you today. Just wanted to check in on a Sunday. Wanted to give you an update on how the Braves are doing. Of course, I have an unfortunate recap with the Braves to go over. And I'm going to tell you about the Falcons preseason game. I was there. I was boots on the ground, eyewitness to the spectacle that it is Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And we're also going to get a little UGA football preview going for you guys. So, to start off the episode, as always, I have a trivia question for you guys. And the trivia question today is, who is the youngest quarterback ever to win a Super Bowl? Who is the youngest quarterback ever to win a Super Bowl? So think about that, see if you know it. There's plenty to choose from, plenty of Super Bowl winners to choose from, but who was the youngest? So I'm going to circle back around at the end of the episode, as always, for that trivia question, but we're going to start this show with the Braves. So we're going to go over the Braves. They just had a devastating loss, literally had a blown save. I mean, it goes into the stats as a blown save, but, you could pitch well, and then one gets away from you, and the team wins in dramatic fashion. Those things happen all the time, and it'll go into the record books as a blown save, but this was quite literally a just blown save. Kenley Jansen blew it. It was just, there's no other way to say it. It was bad. It was a really bad outing. We had the lead going into the ninth, and it just got away from him. I mean, one thing led to another. It was just the writing was on the wall after a few different kind of mishaps happened. The momentum in St. Louis was tangible. You could feel it. You could smell it in the air. The fans were on their feet. The team was on their feet. Everybody, it was just, he blew it. So I'm going to talk about that. But before I get into the specifics of Saturday night's game against the Cardinals, I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I didn't cover this in yesterday's episode. And I think it's because, honestly, Friday night's game was kind of boring. I mean, it went until past midnight. It was just a long, drawn-out game. So in the ninth inning, I was kind of on and off my phone. We had such a huge lead. I was in and out of the room, one of those things. But Jackson Stevens, in the ninth inning of last night's game, gets hit in the head by a line drive, and it was scary. It was a scary sight to see. He had this just absolute cartoonish knot on his forehead after he got hit, and scary stuff because, you think a ball coming at you 100 miles an hour, just no protection right to the dome, that could kill you in the right place, you know what I mean? In the, the ball hitting you in the right spot, that could be, it could be just lights out. And the update for him is that he's not dead, and he is on the 7-day IL for a mild concussion, which is great news considering that I thought he was going to die after he got hit. And I didn't even see it. I just saw the replay of it like after I recorded the episode last night, and I was like, how did I miss that? But horrible scene in St. Louis last night with Jackson Stevens. So glad that he's okay. And, man, that could have been so much worse. I mean, where he got hit, just a few inches down, maybe on the right temple. I mean, I don't even want to think about that. But, I mean, it's happened before. It's happened, there's footage out there. I don't recommend you look for it because you will find it. But there have been some gruesome injuries to pitchers over the years. And I am just glad that he is okay because really, I mean, it like the knot started swelling up on his head immediately. It looked like a cartoon, those red knots that just kind of just come out of their forehead. That's what it looked like. I mean, it was really bad. So glad to hear that it was just a mild concussion. I mean, concussions aren't great, but, compared to what that could have been, thank God. So glad you're going to be okay, Jackson, on the 7-day IL for a mild concussion. Great news there. And Acuna sat out on Saturday's game, but there's no injury reported that I could see. Apparently, it was just to get some rest, although he was hobbling his way around third base in Friday night's game. And the concern there was that he's injured because, well, Acuna is always injured these days. It just seems like every, few weeks, is he going to limp? Is he going to have something going on? And yeah, I don't know. He just got some rest today, so hopefully that gets him back where he needs to be, although he's been playing good. So it's not like he's been, slacking at the plate. He's actually been getting markedly better over the last few weeks. So I think after he was hobbling around third last night and got thrown out at home, yeah, maybe he just needed a rest. I don't know. Mental health day. We'll call it that. But he got some rest, and Heredia took his place in right field in Saturday's game. So on to the game on Saturday. It was actually a great game against St. Louis. I mean, really, final score was 5-6. It was a bit of it felt like a heavyweight, just kind of two heavyweights just trading punches all night. So 0-0 going up to the fourth inning, and then we got out to a 4-0 lead with a monster 3-run home run by d'Arnaud in the fourth. And, I forget how we scored the other run that inning, but that was great. As soon as that happened, I was like, oh, it's happening again. We're going to then jump out 8-0, 10-0. We're going to do what we did on Friday night. However, the Cardinals came back. They scored 2 runs of their own. And a highlight from Saturday's game is that Nolan Arenado came back. He missed one game because he had a baby girl. Congratulations, Nolan Arenado. He took a day off to be with his family, to be with his child and his wife, which is great. And he comes back and he has absolute dad strength. I want to say he had a single, 2 doubles, and a home run. He went 4 for 4 with 2 RBIs. So he crushed us on Saturday night. But I think his 2-run homer was in the fourth. So after we scored 4 in the fourth, they answered. Arenado hits that homer in the fourth to cut the lead to 2. We then score a run in the fifth. St. Louis comes back with 2 in the fifth, and then it was 5-4 up until the bottom of the ninth when they scored 2. So just to give you an idea, when I say that Kenley Jansen blew it, and, but before I just kind of harp on that, I just, that should articulate a little bit about how this game was always it felt tense the whole time, you know what I mean? So anyways, going to the ninth inning, and to explain exactly how Kenley Jansen blew it, this is exactly what happened. So we were up 1 in the ninth, and then he gives up a double, and then right after that, he bounces a curveball on the edge of the plate, which d'Arnaud couldn't handle, so it was a wild pitch, advanced a runner to third, so you go, uh-oh. Goldschmidt was up to the plate at this point, I believe. We had 1 out, and so Goldschmidt's up, and we have a runner on third, or they have a runner on third, and you go, uh-oh, we're only up 1, and then he walks Goldschmidt, so it kind of almost felt like, okay, that's all right. Maybe we can get a double play and end this thing. But then he hit Arenado. So he loads the bases after a double, wild pitch, walk, hit batter. Then there was like an infield single, just a tapper to the left side that by the time Dansby got to it, he couldn't really do anything with it. And then he walked in the walk-off run. It was literally a walk-off win for St. Louis. So that was rough. Kenley Jansen just could not find it, couldn't get it together. He got 1 out quickly, and then it was just boom, 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 one thing after another. You saw the dominoes start to fall. So, serious bummer on behalf of, the Braves. The only silver lining that I can find there is that sort of like in previous times this season when the Braves have gotten really hot, it's like that's what it takes to beat this team. So there's been a few stretches like that this year when we've had like these long stretch, especially in June. I remember there was in June and maybe immediately following June. But I remember there was this stretch during that time where we went over a 10-game stretch. We were 7-3, and the 3 losses that we had were like a blown save by Kenley Jansen, but it was a weird with literally 2 outs and 2 strikes against the Dodgers in the bottom of the ninth or top of the ninth. And the Dodgers jumped out and tied it and beat us in extra innings. It was crazy, but it was like 2 outs, 2 strikes from winning the game. All of a sudden we lose. And then there was, another, like weird series of errors in another game, or there was another game that was like 1-1 to the end, and then they scored 1. So like whenever we're losing like this, you go, okay, I'll take that when it comes to we're not going out there having bad stretches. Whenever we lose a few and it's like, oh man, we're getting beat like 8-4, 7-3, 5-0, that's when it's like, God, we're not even competing and we just look like we're just tired out there, as I am sitting on my couch watching those games. But we're not losing like that. This is the first game we've lost in a while. It's the first before tonight we had won 10 in a row on the road. And so now we're 10-1 on the road in our last 11 road games. So still looking really good. I'm not too worried about it. I'm not concerned. However, while I'm thinking about it, let's check on the good old Mets. How did they do? They were beating Colorado, and I believe they won that game. However, 3-0 final. So they jump up a game in the standings. They're now 3 games up in the NL East. Now, I said this yesterday, and maybe even the day before, that throughout this weekend, don't be surprised if the Mets gain a game this weekend, because we're playing the Cardinals, who are a great team in St. Louis, and the Mets are playing the Rockies. But then they have the Dodgers, and then we get the Rockies. So the scales are going to even out, but I'm not surprised this happened. I was kind of expecting, if we can take 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals, that's going to be good for us, considering how good of a team that they are. Now, if we lose tomorrow and then, the Mets win again, which they most likely will, then that's 4 games. That's a quick swing. That's not what we want. But the Mets, they do play the Rockies tomorrow at 1:40 p.m., and then they have 3 games against the Dodgers. Then they have 3 against the Nationals. Then they have the Pirates, Marlins, Cubs, Pirates, Brewers. Brewers will be a little tougher. A's, Marlins, then Braves. So it gets easy for them. So really, while they're playing the Dodgers is when we need to strike hard, because after that, our schedules look the same. I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but this is important, I think, for us to pay attention to. So the Braves schedule is we have the Cardinals tomorrow night game on Sunday. Wow, 7:08, and that must be nationally televised. And then we have our 3 against the Rockies. Then we have the Marlins, A's, Mariners. That'll be interesting. Giants, Phillies, Nationals, Mets. So I'd say ours is probably slightly more difficult, just because we have the Phillies twice, and they're kind of okay. They're not bad, but they're better than some of those teams that the Mets are playing. But either way, it's pretty much a wash for September as far as schedule difficulty for both us and the Mets. So not surprised the Mets jumped up a game tonight. Our hope is that we can win tomorrow, considering it takes a crazy, completely blown outing by Kenley Jansen to beat us. I'm hoping that we can carry some momentum into tomorrow, shake that off and realize that if, that's usually how you beat good teams, is on kind of almost fluke outings like that. Good teams just beat you until they just kind of almost give you one. And that's what happened tonight, in my opinion. So, go Braves. Let's see if we can close this thing out with a series win against the Cardinals on Sunday, and then go into the Rockies series and hopefully sweep the hell out of them. And you know what? I'm not going to say this very often in my life. At least I don't think so. But go Dodgers. Dodgers need to turn it on, and they're playing in New York. So, man, that makes me nervous. But, the Dodgers and the Mets, I think that it's pretty much a toss-up. Neither of those teams, I don't have this feeling in my gut that either of those teams are going to necessarily win the series. I don't have a strong feeling for one team or the other. I feel like the odds got to be, pretty even on who's going to take that. The edge goes to the Mets because they're in New York, but, Dodgers are a great team. So, go Dodgers. Probably the only time I'm going to say that, or at least one of the few times. Maybe I'll say it 3 times. How's that? I'll say it 3 times for the next 3 games that they play them. So there you go. So moving on from the Braves, let's shake that off. Happy for you, Jackson Stevens. Acuna, get your beauty sleep. And Braves, shake it off. Moving on to the Falcons. The preseason has now concluded. The preseason is done. The next time we see the Falcons suit up, it will be against the New Orleans Saints in Atlanta on September 11th at 1 p.m. at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I will be there just like I was there today. So we have season tickets to the Falcons. So excited to say that. And you know what? Honestly, get on it, because I mean, they're cheaper now than probably they have been for a long time because they aren't that good. At least they haven't been. So they're pricing it based on how they were last year and probably how they expect them to be this year. And honestly, the ticket prices, at least for us, were fantastic, much less than I had expected. So we got our first taste of that today by going to the preseason game. And I'll say this, I'm going to give you a bit of a just experience review here. So getting to the stadium was a nightmare. Here's my Larry David moment for you guys. So, of course, we're traveling down. We're coming from Woodstock, and it took about 2 hours to get there. Serious bummer. One of the reasons I think, going to the Falcons game is just tough. It takes us about 35 minutes to get to the Battery, so not a huge commitment going to the Braves games. Maybe a little longer if there's traffic on game day, but it's really not that bad. Took us about 2 hours to get to Mercedes-Benz Stadium today. It sucked. It was a bit of a fluke, though, so here's my Larry David moment. We're going down 75, and of course, in order to go right on 285, you have to exit left. And to go left on 285, you have to exit right. So a little bit confusing. We got mixed up. We were supposed to take 285 west. Instead, we go east because it's, right, left, right sort of thing. It's bizarro world, opposite day. And we end up going east on 285. So we're going the wrong way. So we have to get off at North Side, go through, a very beautiful part of North Buckhead there. A lot of beautiful homes through that stretch on North Side Drive. But pops us back out on 75, which is what Waze was trying to have us avoid, and for good reason. They decided that in the middle of the day on a Saturday, they're just going to repave, the whole road. So all of 75 was being repaved. We sat, it was like standstill traffic for like an hour. The only thing that made that enjoyable was, of course, spending time with my beautiful, lovely, amazing wife. But in addition to that, the car in front of us, when you just experience, like you almost, you get secondhand happiness from seeing people in other cars just having a great time. And this car in front of us, there was this guy who was just, I don't know what he was doing. It looked like he was practicing for a clown audition. His hands were just going all over the place. He was making crazy faces. I don't even know if there was a kid in the car. I hope there was, because if there wasn't, then he was just being kind of creepy. But we got a lot of entertainment out of watching him. But moving on, you don't care about that. It took forever to get there. It was just packed going there. I'm almost worried for game days because I'm like, man, we're just going to have to get there early. We're going to become tailgate people because, one, tailgating is really fun, but if that's what it takes to beat the traffic and to get there, maybe even if it's just an hour, I'll take an hour. But God, 2 hours, that was rough. But once we got there, the experience was fantastic, and this is why. The Mercedes-Benz Stadium staff are electric. As soon as you walk in, all of them are hyped. They're, welcome to Mercedes-Benz. Go Falcons. Have a good time, y'all. Let's go. And they're just jacked to the tits the whole time. Everyone in that stadium was just, every single staff member was so excited that a smile just came upon my face. I was walking through like a kid in a candy store, looking around, looking at the cathedral, entrance of Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That place is so massive. It's intimidating walking up to. It's so much bigger than the Georgia Dome. And that's very true, actually, because when you saw the Georgia Dome in place of where the parking lots are now, before they demolished it and the MARTA bus got in the way, when you did see those two stadiums, next to each other, Mercedes-Benz could have fit 2 Georgia Domes in it, at least. At least that's what it seemed like. To scale, it's such a massive building. And so you walk in, and it's just mesmerizing. As soon as you walk through the front doors, the staff is great. You feel like everybody's just, singing, dancing, having a good time. Everybody's there. And honestly, it was a good turnout. The turnout was legit. It was literally, we were at the Halloween game last year against the Panthers, and I think that was an epic day, by the way. Atlanta sports brag. I went to a Falcons game during the day, and then that night I went to the second World Series games at home. Epic Atlanta sports day. But there was about the same amount of people at the preseason game on Saturday than there was the regular season game against the Panthers last year. Now, I don't know if that speaks well for the preseason or poorly for the regular season, but regardless, I was happy to see that. It actually did seem like a pretty good turnout. And people were getting hyped. Our section was energetic. We were jumping up and screaming. Even though it was a preseason game and it means nothing, it meant something to us. It meant the world to us on Saturday to see the things that we saw, which was an Atlanta Falcons victory over the Jags. Good feelings all around. People were excited. They were talking to each other. We were hugging, laughing. It was good stuff. So, staff was great. Turnout was great. The concessions at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, fantastic. I mean, the food was okay. I'll say that. I got like a burger and fries. The fries were great. Burger tasted like it had just been sitting there for a while. It probably was. But my wife and I both got a burger, fries, and 2 drinks, and it was like $24 total. So, cheap, quick, and, I also got some assorted Swedish fish. Okay, here's the thing about assorted Swedish fish. If they actually sold that candy regularly at gas stations and grocery stores, I think it might dethrone Sour Patch Kids. I know that's a bold statement, but I truly believe that to my core. Assorted Swedish fish with different flavors, the orange, the greens, the blues, the yellows, all the stuff, not just the reds. But the assorted packs are so good. And the only place I can ever get them is I got them at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Saturday, and I've gotten them at the Georgia Aquarium and maybe some airports, maybe. But you can never find them, and I look for them all the time because whenever I see them at some sort of event, I get so excited. It's like the Baja Blast of candy. You have to go to certain places to get it, and maybe it just adds this kind of mythological kind of thing to the whole experience to me. But assorted Swedish fish slaps. And they rival Sour Patch Kids. I'm going to say it. I think they could. Swedish Fish Corporation, listen to me now. Hear my cry. Put that candy out everywhere and see what happens. See how many Swedish fish fans you can make. And I bet it's going to be a lot. So that's my thing on that. But very glad I got that. Was so hyped. My world brightened up, even brighter than it already was as soon as I saw that. So the last thing that I'll say about the festivities at Mercedes-Benz Stadium is there was this thing at halftime. It was the mascots versus the toddlers. Maybe it was versus the peewees. I typed toddlers here in my show summary. I don't think it was actual toddlers. It was the mascots versus the peewees. And what that is it's grown men dressed in the mascot uniforms of local and regional teams. So you had the Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket. You had Blooper from the Braves, who of course was a fan favorite. You had the Atlanta Hawks, the Hawk. You had Freddie Falcon. You had even the Carolina Panthers guy showed up to come party. So grown men are playing this casual, fun-looking football game against a peewee football team. These kids must have been 7, 8 years old tops. They were tiny. And everybody's clapping, having a good time. Oh my God, they're going to come out. These kids are going to get to play a game against their favorite mascots. It's going to be so much fun and good feelings and warm and friendly and awesome. It's going to be great. In the first play, Blooper jumps to snap and absolutely pummels this kid into the ground, buries him in the dirt, smashes him into the earth. And I'm not kidding. It was like Billy Madison dodgeball out there. And the crowd goes wild. We're laughing, we're cheering, we're like, yeah, get him. And then, maybe they let him score or whatever, but they were out there just bulldozing these kids. And then the next series, when the mascots were on offense, Blooper gets the ball and he's running it down the sideline, and he Derrick Henrys this kid into the ground in front of his family, in front of everybody, just stiff arms one kid, and his head hit the ground first. That's how light this kid was. His kid's head, the back of his head just boom, went back. And then Blooper runs and he's trucking. And then he does it again. He stiff arms another kid, and they showed it slow-mo on the Halo screen, and it was so sick. But this kid, it looked like a anime fight. And then Blooper keeps running down, stiff arms a third kid, trucks some people, and absolutely, these kids are flat. At one point, there was literally a kid on the ground holding his stomach. And he was just laying there still. And he kind of gets up and is like, okay, I guess I'm going to go play. Now, granted, the kids were having fun, so it wasn't just like a complete bloodbath out there. But Blooper's a savage. Blooper did not care at all. He just demolished these little kids for 5 minutes during this halftime show thing. And then, the Pee Wee team ended up winning 14-7. I think there was another touchdown. They, at one point, after the mascots were celebrating a touchdown, they kind of had this whole skit where they were jumping on a table and dancing and doing this whole thing or trying to break a table. And while that was happening, the kids ran a kickoff and they were like, oh my God, we were too busy with our celebration. We couldn't defend. So it was all, of course, they put on a show, having a good time. But when it came time for them, there was 3 or 4 plays where Blooper specifically just abused these children for all of our amusement. And it worked. I was laughing hysterically the whole time. I hope to God there's footage of this out there, because if there is, I'm going to bookmark that forever. Because if I'm having a bad day, I'm going to think back and think, you know what, at least I'm not that kid getting slung into the core of the earth by Blooper, the Brave. So well done, mascots, for giving a great show. And moving on to the actual game, I thought you guys might appreciate that recap of the mascots Pee Wee thing. So the Falcons win 28-12, and this was a good game. I mean, you know what? Look, a lot of the starters didn't play. Drake London's sitting. Grady Jarrett, I don't know if he got any action. He may have played some of the first couple of series. Marcus Mariota didn't play at all. The whole game was Desmond Ridder. There was literally one pass thrown by Felipe Franks in the fourth quarter, I think, but this was Desmond Ridder's game, and I want to talk about him for a sec, because he goes 14 for 21 with 185 yards, 1 touchdown, but 2 picks. However, those 2 picks are going to be a little bit deceiving. So the very first play of the game, and Arthur Smith even said this in the post-game press conference, but the first play of the game, an offensive lineman missed an assignment, completely went the opposite way, let someone through. So there was pressure right in Desmond Ridder's face. And according to Arthur Smith, Desmond Ridder then plays hero ball, which he wasn't happy about, but he throws up this pass in the middle, gets picked off. First play of the game, kind of a crazy, what the hell just happened? But a lineman missed his block. Ridder tried to, make something out of it. Didn't work out. So that happens. Learn from those mistakes. Do that in the preseason. Get it out of the way. The second interception was with 0 seconds left in the first half, and Arthur Smith called a long pass play just to have him throw it up. So Arthur Smith he kind of took credit for that interception. And then, of course, like any good quarterback would, when he was interviewed, he said, yeah, he called the play, but I'm the one on the field. I got to make it happen, so that's on me. So both the coach and the quarterback are taking credit for it. But the second pick, who cares? It's a Hail Mary before the half, very inconsequential. So those interceptions, even though it might look like, man, he threw 2 picks, really, it wasn't as bad as it looks on paper. But for the rest of the game, he was on point. Once again, Desmond Ridder was on point. He was accurate. He had a couple of throws in some really tight windows on the sideline. He had a beautiful pass to Frank Darby on the sideline that was a long pass. He threw it from, I think, our own end zone, and it went about 20, 30 yards in the air and just absolutely laid perfectly over the shoulder of Frank Darby. And Frank Darby made a great catch, but it was just a beautifully placed ball. There was another pass to a receiver whose name escapes me at the moment. That was a quick, post route up the middle, slant post. I don't know which one's which, but it was about a 10-yard pass, quick pass, but it turned up for about 35 yards upfield. And Desmond was just on it. His eyes were downfield. He was moving around well in the pocket. And he's a fast guy, but he wasn't like a run-first guy. And he hasn't been the entire preseason. He has the ability to move when he needs to, but he was accurate and sharp. And the only thing that I think was frustrating was in the third quarter, there was a lot of penalties. There was one drive specifically where we had about 3 or 4, maybe even 5 false start penalties. It wasn't 5 in that one drive, but there was maybe 3. And I think 5 or 6 might have happened, within a couple of quarters. My wife was counting. She's like, is that 6? And I'm like, yeah, it might be 6. So operationally, I know that's a lot of times they put that on the quarterback because maybe it has to do with his cadence. Maybe it has to do with his snap count and how he's just operating. I mean, he is the manager out there. Everything is going through the quarterback. So it's still on the players to kind of know what's going on and to not jump. But there was only one series where things just looked really bad. Then we punted it, we got it back, and then we looked good after that. So aside from that one series in the third quarter, Desmond was just on point. I mean, he had a touchdown pass to Tyler Algier, who also looked really good. Caleb Huntley looked fantastic. He had 19 carries for 86 yards and a touchdown, but he was running just with with a purpose today. Quadri Allison looked good, which was good to see because I never really know about him. You know, the jury's still out on Quadri Allison. I mean, he had 9 carries for 30 yards, but he had a touchdown, and he had a couple that was just, he was running strong. And Tyler Algier, I think he had 2 touchdowns. He had a receiving touchdown, and he had a rushing touchdown. And he's looking good. He was a bit of a bulldozer out there, running passionately through defenders. So good to see that. And Ritter, man, I love what I'm seeing out of the guy. I've been saying this since before the first preseason game. I like the cut of his jib. I like his vibe. I like his flow. I like his energy. I like everything that I've seen out of him so far. And I really do think, whether it's this year or next, I just have a good feeling about him. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. Now everyone's going to say he's playing in the preseason. He's playing against the second team. I get that. But, I mean, what are you going to do? Give him a time machine? You're going to snap to an alternate dimension where things happen differently, different decisions were made? I mean, he's doing this well with the opportunities that are given to him. So the last 2 games have been great for him. Even the first game was great for him. I said this the first time I reviewed his performance in the preseason game against the Lions, but, he went like 10 for 22 in that game. But there was I think literally 5 drop passes or something. There were some beautifully placed balls that were just dropped right through the hands of these guys. So receivers looked better today. Desmond Ridder looked great. Our defense looked great. We had 2 picks late in the fourth quarter, but we also got some pressure, and that was in the first quarter too. So against some of the guys who we're going to be seeing on Sundays, who were starting early on, they were getting some pressure. They had got some sacks. They had gotten some rushes. They had gotten some tackles for loss. Love seeing that from the defensive line. And I hope that there is plenty more of that to come. So good job, Falcons, and good job, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. You guys put on a great show. I mean, it was preseason, I know, but it felt great. The energy was electric, and maybe it's just because it was literally the first game in the stadium, excuse me, for the Falcons this year. But, man, it was good to be back. It was hot. It was hot. Really, really hot. But once you got in there, the roof was closed, so it was fine. But, man, it was cool. There is something, it's always a little weird when football season starts every year when it's still really hot outside. I feel a little crazy because I'm like, man, it just doesn't, hot football does not feel natural. I want it to be cold. I want to have to bundle up walking into that stadium. I know it's coming. Probably not going to happen until November, but October, that's free utility month. I'll certainly take that. I'm certainly fine with that. So I'm getting off on a tangent here about weather and hotness and stuff. So let's go ahead and move on to the final segment before our trivia answer. And that is a UGA football preview. Time for some Georgia football hype. I'm going to read you the schedule, and I'm going to give you everything that you need to know as a Georgia fan. So here it is. This is all you need to know leading into the season as a Georgia fan. Here we go. Schedule preview. Boom. I'm going to predict every single outcome. I'm going to give you exactly what to expect. You ready for this? Georgia football schedule preview starting now. Saturday, September 3rd against Oregon, win. Saturday, September 10th against Samford, win. Saturday, September 17th, Georgia, South Carolina, win. Georgia. September 24th against Kent State, demolishment. October 1st against Missouri, savagery. We're going to win that game for sure. October 8th in Athens, Auburn is coming to town. We're going to win, of course, handily. October 15th against Vandy, win. Against Florida, Florida, please, we're going to demolish and just steal their souls out of their body. November 5th, Tennessee, win. November 12th, Mississippi State. Oh, that might be tough. Never mind, win. November 19th against Kentucky, win. Georgia Tech, as always, as it has been for the last, 50,000 years, we are going to destroy Georgia Tech on November 26th. And then, guess what's going to happen after that? SEC Championship, probably against Alabama, win. National Championship, probably against Alabama. Boom, we're going to win. That's what's going to happen. That's all you need to know. You don't even have to watch a single game this year because I just told you the outcome of everything. UGA football is right around the corner, starting Saturday, September 3rd. This time next week, I am going to be reviewing the Oregon game, and I am so excited. So get ready, everybody. Get the nachos ready. Whatever your game day treats are, invite your friends. Get excited because it is right around the corner. This week, We are turning from August to September, and I could not be more grateful for that. I'm sick of this dumb month. I look for ways to be positive, to be the glass is half full type guy. That's how I like to live my life. I think that's how people should live their lives. But it's effort for me in August. We get the preseason, and you know what? That's a little taste. It's a little reprieve from the punishment that is the month of August. But you know what? Once August is done, the truth comes out. I know what the preseason is. It's not real. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. It's just kind of a tease. It's exciting. I'm going to get excited about it. I'll enjoy it. Sure. Why not? Fine. But as soon as September hits, it's the real deal. And it starts in less than a week at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the beautiful, magnificent, just excellent Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And Oregon's coming to town. So, thank you. Thank you, universe. Thank you, God. Thank you, my family and friends and everyone who's been a part of this, who's helped me get to this point. Thank you, the University of Georgia, for your athletic department, for everyone involved over there, the staff at UGA, for the Atlanta Falcons, for the Atlanta Braves. Thank you, Braves, for keeping my spirits up this month. You've really come around post All-Star break. I think you're going to do great things. Shake this loss off. It's okay. You're going to be fine. And, yeah, man, it's happening. This is quite literally, this is like Christmas. This is like Christmas. September is like Christmas. We have our fantasy football draft. Fantasy football. Oh, my God. That's happening soon. I've got 2 drafts in the next 7 days. You know how excited I am for that? You know what that means to me? You know how many stupid mock drafts I'm about to do between now and next Sunday? And guess what? I'm going to enjoy every single one of them. I will. Why? Because that's what I do. That's just what keeps me going. It's what just connects all of the just dots inside of my spirit. It's time, you guys. We made it. I'm probably going to say this exact same thing 3 more times until we're officially there on game day, but I can at least say, you know what? We're going into the final week. So let's go. So, give you your trivia answer here before we close out the day. Your trivia question at the beginning of the show, if you remember, was who is the youngest quarterback ever to win a Super Bowl? Who is the youngest quarterback ever to win the Super Bowl? And the answer is, of course, Ben Roethlisberger in 2006 won the Super Bowl against the Seattle Seahawks at the ripe young age of 23. 23 years old. And yeah, there's your answer. So thank you as always for listening. I appreciate it, you guys. So excited and grateful for your support. Love seeing the traction that we're getting doing this. It's been a lot of fun for me, and I hope it's been fun for you too. So thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, follow, do whatever you got to do. Follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter. We're at All Gas or at All Georgia Sports. Or at All Georgia Sports Guy, and that's GA, at All GA Sports on TikTok, and same thing on YouTube at All GA Sports Guy on Twitter. So check us out, follow us, and you know what makes someone's day today? It's Sunday, it's the Lord's Day. Spend time with your family, make sure you rest, make sure you recharge, make sure you spend time with the people in your life that mean a lot to you, who love you, and be sure to love them. We go through our life always thinking, who loves us? What am I getting out of my relationships? But a real relationship isn't based on what it is that you get. A real relationship is based on what it is that you give. Because when you can do that, and when multiple people are giving to each other, the energy is compounded and it creates. Whereas if you're just thinking about what you're getting, and if that's the people you're surrounding yourself with, well, then everyone's just sucking the life out of one another until everyone's left with nothing. So instead, give. Give your love, give your time, give your energy, give your spirit, and it will all come back around full circle and leave you so fulfilled. At least it has for me. So that's my experience. That's my nugget for the day. Love you guys, and I will see you on Monday. See ya.